Hey guys, it's Lisa, your English tutor here, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself. So I figured that with my normal students, I love to get to know them before we actually get started, and I love to tell them a little bit about myself, just so that we can break the ice, get to be a little bit more comfortable with each other, and then that way we can have the best relationship when it comes to tutoring, so that I can help them in the best way possible. So I'm going to do the first section with you, which is the part where I tell you about myself, just because I feel like if you get to know me a little bit better, know my personality, then the way that I teach and how I interact with my students, so you, makes a lot more sense to you guys and you know what you're getting into. Plus, I'm always that type of person who loves watching the About Me videos with whichever YouTuber I'm watching, so I figure I kind of want to do one of those as well. My last name is Tran, but I'm actually not Vietnamese, I'm Chinese. Thumbs up or comment below if you are someone who's like me, where you have a surname that does not reflect your actual background. Every time I meet someone new, they assume I'm Vietnamese, so I have to go on this massive rant of how I actually ended up with a Vietnamese coming from a Chinese background. Either it's that, or if I really don't feel like it, or I feel like I'm never gonna meet this person again, I'll just be like, yeah, I'm Vietnamese. I know 4 languages, obviously one being English, Cantonese, Mandarin, and Vietnamese, despite the fact that I am not Vietnamese. In fact, English is actually my 3rd language. My first 2 languages were Cantonese and Mandarin. So the order of languages then is from very fluent to not very fluent at all. So as you guys know, I'm an English tutor, so hopefully I know how to speak a little bit of English so I can help you guys out. 你哋好，我個名係 Lisa， 我每次去香港我好開心，因為我可以講廣東話。我喺屋企就係講廣東話，但係你可能聽我講冇咁叻，係咪？你们好，我在这里有说一点点中文。我有去中文学校，从我4岁到我17岁。小时候我说中文很厉害的，但是我5岁后我去学英语，每天学英语，每天说英语。每天讲话英语，和我的朋友就我的中文越来越差。Jiao bang. At university, I got into a double degree of Bachelor of Pharmacy and Commerce, but I was so over studying pharmacy at the end of 5 years that I actually dropped my commerce component. I am a qualified pharmacist. However, I do not work as a pharmacist. I tried working full-time for a year as a pharmacist and I absolutely hated it. I just hate the 9 to 5 hour work week. It is just so not for me. I'm a night owl, so I like to stay up in the night and also sleep in the morning, which is probably why the 9 to 5 hours just did not work for me, because I hated waking up early. I would wake up at 8:42 each morning, brush my teeth, chuck on some clothes, bring my breakfast with me into the car, and then I would have 7 minutes to drive to my pharmacy. So that's how much I just did not like waking up early in the morning, because every single minute counted because I was sleeping until the very, very last second. I play competitive dodgeball and it is the best thing ever. It is the best sport out there, and I hadn't played dodgeball since I was in primary school, but as soon as I got back into it, it was just so much fun. Last season, we were actually one of the worst teams in the division, which was pretty embarrassing, but this is actually our 2nd league, and we are going to make the finals this time, so I'm super excited about that. I get happy really easily, and I always have the best time with my friends, but it actually takes a lot to get me laughing absolutely uncontrollably. I'm more of a kind of person, more of a chuckle person, rather than a ha 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 type of person. The last time I was laughing uncontrollably was with my cousin Jasmine, and we were doing our own rendition of Adele's Hello.
You'd like to meet. Who are you? To go over. What? Hello?
I am an adventure seeker, and I'm always that person who is always keen to do something that's a little bit thrilling. So, you know, I'm definitely that person who loves going to theme parks and doing the roller coasters and the vertical drops, but more so, I really want to do bungee jumping, I really want to do skydiving. The latest thing that I did recently that was sort of adventurous was ziplining. My favorite book of all time is 1984 by George Orwell. This was my first exposure to a totalitarian society and learning about a dystopian society, and ever since I've kind of got this little obsession with anything that has to do with this type of world. So let's just say Hunger Games, you know, I don't love Hunger Games, but I'm definitely interested in it just because of the type of place that they live in. It's always so desolate and they really need to fight to get their freedom. I actually studied 1984 as my year 12 book, which is sort of strange because most people hate whatever year 12 book they've studied and they never want to read it again. But 1984 is one of those books that I would sit down with you over coffee and just spend an hour speaking to you about it, just because I think it's so interesting how government will try to manipulate people in certain ways, or the type of propaganda that they will project out. So just anything like that just really piques my interest. My favorite food of all time is Korean! I love Korean food. Like, I only really discovered Korean food when I was about 21, but ever since then, I just go crazy when it comes to Korean food. Kimchi, I love budae-jjigae, which is just a stew with all these different ingredients and just pure goodness. And Korean barbecue, oh, so good. I have traveled solo before in Hong Kong and South Korea, and it was the best experience I've ever had. It is something that I highly recommend to anyone. Traveling solo just brings you a whole new era of independence and just finding yourself, and it's so amazing when you go overseas because you're put in a completely different comfort zone. You just learn so much about yourself, how you go about making new friends in a whole different country, how you go about, you know, a country where nothing is written in English, finding directions in a totally different country where words are written in different languages, how you go about, you know, difficult situations. So if I could relive it again, I would so do it in a heartbeat and 10 times over. And I actually met my boyfriend overseas in Seoul, Korea, so it definitely has a special place for me. People have asked me whether or not I want to become a teacher because I obviously love tutoring so much. The next progressive step would be to be a teacher, but I don't know, I'm a little bit unsure about it at the moment. I really like the tutoring aspect because it has this exclusivity about it, in that, you know, you are working one-on-one with a student, or if it's not one-on-one, it's at least a very small group. And I like the fact that you can really get to know the students' like weaknesses and their strengths, and you just get to know the student themselves and you develop a relationship with them. And you know, I've got heaps of friends from just tutoring in the past who used to be my students, but now we're all friends. So it's something really nice. Whereas in a teaching environment, I mean, if you have a class of 20 students or 25, I just don't know how I'd be able to uphold that same sort of commitment I give to each of my students. And I wouldn't get to know like their work as well, or even just them as well. And I don't know how I would be in controlling a classroom, especially if it was a little bit of a rowdy classroom, or if it was a more quiet classroom, because I love like enthusiasm and I love talking, and I love it when students like talk heaps with me, not with each other, but you know, when they're engaging in the conversation. So yeah, I don't really know. We'll see sometime in the future. Who knows? I'm just leaving the options open, but I definitely love what I'm doing now, so I'm just gonna stick at it. If you drive past me, I am one of those people who you will see absolutely belting out a song. I am one of those people who not only sing the main part, but I will also sing the backup singer's part, and then I'll do like the random beats that come in the background as well. So you just hear me like singing the whole song, not very well, but just trying to do a little bit of everything. So yeah. So there you go. If you liked this video, then please give it a thumbs up because you got to know me a little bit better. Please comment below if you've got anything to say, especially if you're a Tran as well and everyone says that you're Vietnamese, but you're like, oh, no, I'm Chinese. And then they go, what? How can you be Chinese? And then it just goes on and on from there. Subscribe as well if you haven't already, because I release VCE English videos, but also videos in general about VCE. So really just to help you guys, you know, get through these 2 years just with the best possible advice from a current English tutor and someone who's actually experienced it all in the past. I had a lot of fun filming this video, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye! But by challenging a prompt, you are able to show the teacher something a little different compared to everyone else who's just going to agree with what the prompt is saying. And this is exactly what